everybody, it is Friday, October 23rd, 2015. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan, and Nick is here, and it's Force motherfucking Friday. That's right, we're doing Force Friday again because the last final Star Wars trailer came out this week. I'm excited. You should be excited. If you're not, you go to hell. You go to hell and you die. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't. That's for Nick to do. Speaking of Nick, hi Nick. How are you doing today?
I am super pumped and excited because that was the best goddamn trailer I have ever seen. And if you don't like it, no, you are a communist or a terrorist or something. You are not an American citizen if you were not excited by that trailer.
I wasn't excited by it, so.
But we already knew you were a communist.
It's true. I am Comrade John. No, okay, really, I liked it. I really did. But on repeat viewings, I kind of see some things that make me question what's going on. But there's some information that has come out that I have discovered that I'm not so questioning of it anymore, and I think it's actually going to be really good.
Well, what would that be?
Well, okay. Have you seen J.J. Abrams' Star Trek?
Yes.
Yeah, the not Wrath of Khan movie.
One of the things that I think is really interesting is I've watched the original remake Star Wars, Star Trek movie, and the Wrath of Khan Star Trek movie. And as movies themselves, I really like them. But when I think of them in the Star Trek sense, I don't like them as much. I think that because he's not doing a remake here, and because we're getting a new story, that this is going to be much better than his Star Trek movies.
I guess we'll have to watch and find out. But if you follow us on Facebook, you have seen that I announced earlier today that we're going to go through all of the trailers, all of them. And Nick knows about this, but all of you don't know. I spent probably 3 hours or so watching every trailer 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever times to try and figure out exactly what I wanted to get a screenshot of. So I have gone through the most recent trailer, the teaser trailers that were done before.
Your mic's breaking up, John.
Before the final trailer came out, and I went through the trailers that have come out over the past about a year and a half, and the Comic-Con footage, because there's some images from all of them I tried to capture. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of these and try and maybe figure out what's going to happen in the movie.
We'll speculate. A lot of speculation.
But I actually, first off, I want to show something. I didn't show this on the Back of the Future Day episode, but this is my late uncle. His name is Mel, and if you haven't noticed, he bears a little more than a passing resemblance to Christopher Lloyd. And yes, Uncle Mel had a DeLorean. Yes, he fixed it up. Yes, he drove around dressed like that in it more than once. And
why wouldn't you if you could do that? I mean, I think everyone should try to do that if they can.
Probably, but like I said, I didn't think to include this on the Back to the Future Today episode, even though it was perfect for it. So here it is, and Uncle Mel, this show's actually for you.
That is a really that's just, I am envious of him. That man is my hero now.
He was a good person. He was actually a radio show host too. Except it was, like old timey radio. Well, not old timey. I mean, like, traditional radio, not the internet stuff, but Yeah, he had a
Yeah.
DeLorean, and he drove it around in Christmas parades and stuff. And we were talking one time at a family reunion, and he was telling me about it. And he says that, well, he said that this one time he was driving it around, and of course, DeLoreans intended to actually be driven quickly, not creep
Mm-hmm.
along like parade speed. And he said it was actually overheating the engine to do it.
Hmm.
So he pulled off, and he had his grandson with him, one of my cousins with him, I think is what he said. And he said they went off down to a highway, where because the streets were kind of empty because of the parade, and he tore ass down the highway in his DeLorean so it would not overheat.
That's pretty cool.
I have no idea what happened to the car, but he did say something very interesting. So if you're interested in purchasing a DeLorean of your own, you actually can. You have to assemble it yourself, but you can purchase every piece for the car because they were actually done like a kit. And when you ordered, whenever you buy a DeLorean, it was assembled together for you. But you can still buy all the pieces. So essentially, it's intended to be, for repairing them now. But there were so few of them that were actually sold. But like I said, what there is this huge warehouses and warehouses full of extra parts after the companies shut down. So you can actually purchase everything for your very own DeLorean.
It's one of those odd stories of a really cool idea and product that just it didn't really sell well, and there's just there's a lot of them just laying around waiting for someone to go buy them.
That's true. But before we, get, too far off track here, we need to get back to Star Wars. So, by the way, everybody, you need to bear with us on this because there's a shit ton of images. I think I took like 77 screenshots or so from all the trailers, trying to get everything I possibly could. So, of course, we have, I Nick, I do not remember this girl's name to save my life. I really can't. But this was her from one of the initial trailers on her little speeder bike wannabe thingy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
And you can see, she's wearing what looks like uh, part of the outfit you see in a later trailer. I could be wrong.
yeah, or she's you see her scaling the machinery, I think. I believe that is Jessica Pava. I'm not sure. Or the character name is Jessica Pava.
Sorry for the delay. Like I said, there's a lot of images, and I have to sort through all these. I probably should have grouped them, but I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, what we see here is images of X-wings flying over a lake.
Which is just
Nick, question.
mm,
Do you just want to go through all these images? That way we don't have to sit here and talk about them. Just try and get them because there's so many. Really, I want to show, and it's taken me a while to actually get them brought up to where everyone can see
uh,
them. So do you want to just, you know, put them all up and then we talk about them, or whenever?
uh maybe when we just see something really interesting, just
Okay.
start
You
talking about
you
it.
mean like
That's
Kylo
just
Ren walking in the forest?
yeah. But the X-wings just flying above the lake is just beautiful. It's a beautiful shot.
Seriously, everybody, it's going to take me a while to get this up here because there's a lot. The program that we actually use to do the show, I can upload the images, but I have to bring them up one by one. So I'm sitting here clicking this whole time I'm doing this. And now we
I
should be
mean,
looking at Kylo Ren with his saber lit. Supposed to be.
mm, well, it will be in a few seconds. There's a few seconds delay. But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like it's a J.J. Abrams movie just from the way that he's portraying the villain. Just the lighting, the angle, the everything. You can tell this is a J.J. movie.
And here we have our first shot of the Falcon flying.
Still the fastest ship in the galaxy.
Oh, you mean that complete lie about how many parsecs it can go, and a parsec is not a measure of time, it's distance?
No, we don't need to break down space travel and time and flight and things like that. It's alright.
But we do. Oh, and here is our first image of one of the new planets. It's called uh Jaka or something like that. I don't really remember. It's okay. See, when I first saw it, I thought, "Oh, this is Tatooine. Holy shit, we're going to Tatooine again." No, no, this is not Tatooine. This is the home
Really?
planet of the female lead in the movie, whose name I really cannot remember. I don't know why I can't remember it. I wish I could,
I believe it's Jessica Pava.
probably. But you see, evidently there was a battle at some point in time in the past, because you see a destroyed Star Destroyer, and then a crashed X-wing in front of her, and you can just barely make her out. She's closer to the right hand side. If you see the Star Wars logo at the bottom, look straight up to where the bottom of the destroyer is, and move your eyes over, and you'll see a little hump. That's actually her riding by on her little speeder thingy. So yeah.
Huh.
And then we have the only known image of Luke, or who is presumed to be Luke in the trailer. There was actually a controversy this week about whether Luke is even in the movie or not, because there
Well,
has been no images of him. There's not even an action figure of Luke Skywalker
I
for this yet.
I see Mark Hamill listed. I pulled up the IMDb cast listing. I do see him listed, so I'm assuming that has to be Luke.
Well, see, we all know that he's on the cast list, but everyone else that we have seen in the trailer, or that we know is going to be there, has been in the trailer. Now, what makes me question, where he is the image of the lightsaber handoff. It's Anakin's lightsaber, which
Yeah,
should theoretically be it should be missing by now. You know what I mean? Like it
I
should
was
be it should be long gone. Should be
I
long
was
since gone.
also I was wondering how did Finn get Luke's lightsaber? Did Luke track down his father's lightsaber? I'm really curious about that.
But here, of course, we have another shot of the X-wing flying over water, and it really, really, even if this is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, the effects in this are amazing. And of course, following up the X-wings, we have to show uh, another individual whose name I'm sorry, I'm bad with remembering these people's names. I really should know them. But the pilot that everybody knows, who actually has a X-wing, black X-wing. Also, by the way, these are apparently not traditional X-wings in this, because this movie is nearly 40 years after uh, the events of Return of the Jedi. So this
They're
is
clearly updated.
yeah.
Clearly.
And of course, we have some couple battle scenes coming up, I think. But also, by the way, the Rebellion is no longer the Rebellion. They're called the Resistance, and the Empire has now been taken over by a group called the First Order. Right? Is it First Order?
I'm not sure. I haven't read the book yet, so I'm
And
not sure.
and one of the main bad guys, of course, is Kylo Ren. His name is really one of the few that I'm able to remember. And if you look at him, he looks a lot like I want to say Darth Malgus from one of the games, but I'm probably thinking of another character. Just like the face mask and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some dialogue coming up, and of course, well, here's a shot of the First Order themselves, wearing not stormtrooper armor. Everyone keeps calling them stormtroopers, but they're not. And if you're familiar with history, you'll kind of get, the semblance of Nazism behind them. The big red flag with the emblem and the troops. The stormtroopers lined up in front of the leader
Yeah.
who's yelling at them. But there is another image coming up somewhere near the end, I believe, of all of that from their actual leader's position, like looking down at the troops. It's was actually in the Comic Con footage, and it's amazing and beautiful and wonderful, and I really like the picture. Another shot of our female lead, Jessica, whatever you said her name is.
It is Pava, something.
Something like that. Sorry, can't pronounce your name or remember it. TIE
See,
fighters flying past.
this is why in the future we're not going to get interviews with these people ever.
Probably not.
We're going to become this big show, and we're going to invite people to be on the show, and we're going to try to get the Star Wars cast, and they're going to be like, you can't pronounce my name. You don't remember my name.
Well, see, okay, look, okay. That aside, what we're all seeing right now is one of the most interesting shots in the trailer. It's a TIE fighter, and if you look at it on, well, okay, it's okay when you're facing it, it is the left hand side of the TIE fighter. There is this big red splotch on it, and it's actually shooting other TIE fighters that belong to the First Order, and you see troops shooting back at it. Now, come to find out, that's actually a super specific TIE fighter. That belongs to our other young male lead.
Finn.
What's his name?
Finn.
Yeah. Right, actually, right here. This is just after he takes off his helmet, and if you remember the trailer, he's something about why am I here or something like that. What was like I don't remember how it was phrased. But that's actually a TIE fighter that
he basically said, I've been raised all my life to fight, and I have nothing to fight for. And it was one of the more interesting pieces of dialogue that I heard during the trailer.
But yeah, he actually this is a slight spoiler. Oh, by the way, what we're seeing right now is the new Star Destroyer. This is a brand new ship. You can see a shuttle and the weird looking vehicles with like the 4 blue engines on the back. Those are troop carriers. I was able to figure it out by looking at other images. So there are now landing vehicles for the First Order, and that big beautiful Star Destroyer right there, which is called like the Fearsome or something like that. I don't really remember what it's called. It starts with an F, I believe, but it's apparently gigantic, like larger than most of the traditional Star Destroyers.
I wonder how it compares in power to the older Star Destroyer models.
Well, I mean, we're 40 years in the future or so, and
well, I mean, yeah, but like it could be like you know how the U.S. Navy went away from battleships to more of a cruiser-based fleet, or things like that. They're more effective but less powerful. You know what I mean?
And of course, we just had an image of Captain Phasma, who is honestly, I think Phasma is probably the character that I am most excited to see. Uh, just because I get I get a very Boba Fett esque vibe
Yeah,
from Phasma, and
that's
I think
also
that's what it is.
That's also what I worry about with Captain Phasma, because is he just going to be another Boba Fett, or is he going to be his own kind of character?
Well, see, that's where you're mistaken, my friend, because Phasma is a she. Phasma,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
yes,
sorry.
Phasma is a woman.
Is she?
So
My
we're
my apologies. I am very sorry. Is she going to be another Boba Fett or her own character?
I don't know. But it's actually one of the things that's causing controversy among some of the fans because, like, oh my god, we have a black stormtrooper. Oh my god, we have a female stormtrooper. Yeah, that's actually kind of awesome when you think about it.
Yeah,
It's
I I
actually
I
awesome.
I really don't. Like, I have seen nothing to suggest that these actors or actresses cannot do the role that they are assigned to do. And these are new characters. They're not remaking the old characters. They're just people need to stop whining. Like, really, please stop.
Kind of cycle these images, so if you see something you want to talk about, just bring it up.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's a lot of them, and I would like to get. Like, I think for our viewers, it would be best if we could get through them quickly. So, if you see something come
Yeah.
up, let me know, and I'll stop and talk.
There's a slight delay between when I see them and when you post them. So, but as soon as I see them. That's a cool shot of the Falcon flying through explosions or no, that's some wreckage. Yeah.
Well, see, coming up, you're about to have what I consider to be the money shot of all the trailers. I mean, like this is the winning image for everything, and you'll see here in a second what it is and why it is everyone is excited.
Like just to talk while I'm waiting for these shots to come up. I oh, Chewbacca and Han, of course. Actually, one of the really interesting things that I and when I saw him in the trailer, like, I know that Harrison Ford doesn't exactly like doing the Star Wars movies, or he has a problem with Carrie Fisher or something. I don't know what's up with that. But when I saw him doing the movie, it didn't seem like he was not enjoying himself. It's really confusing to me. Um, just his attitude towards the movies and things. I don't know.
He actually doesn't like doing Star Wars. He never signed on. Now I don't know how many of our audience knows this, but Harrison Ford never actually committed to the role of Han Solo. Every person in the movie, everybody, committed to a contract to do multiple films, except for Harrison Ford. His was done film by film. So at the end of Empire Strikes Back, whenever you see him going into the uh, uh, carbonite chamber,
The
I lost the
yeah,
word for a second. Whenever you see him going into there, and and he says, the at completely add the line of "I love you," I know that was actually intended to be the end of Han Solo. He was not going to come back because George Lucas
that
was unsure if he could even get him back.
that explains a lot about just the way the movie went and how little he was in the third movie. It does explain a lot.
But of course, now what we're seeing is shots from the final trailer that was released. So if you've seen that, you've probably seen some of these.
And I mean, I have never been so excited for a trailer as I have been, honestly, for this one. And I mean, I love Star Wars. I absolutely adore Star Wars. It's not my favorite sci-fi or fantasy um series, or however you want to put it. I'd probably say I'm more of a fan of Lord of the Rings, or maybe a few other things, but I I don't know. I'm just really, really, really excited for this for the last trailer that I saw. I was trying not to be too excited for this. I was trying to keep my expectations down, keep cool, keep calm. But everything about the last trailer that I saw, just I'm excited. And just for a bit of speculation about the female protagonist, Jessica. It seems like she's a scavenger of some sorts on this planet. That's what it seems like to me. Because it seems like she's going into the old destroyers, scavenging for parts. I guess
She does
trying to
actually.
sell.
There's been a little bit about the characters that have come out, and okay, coming up, of course, you see, our new male lead, and following that should be an image of that exact same Tie Fighter from earlier, and it's that one because it's the only one who's seen any shot at all that has that big red stripe on it. And what I'm thinking happens in this, and excuse me, again, this is speculation, is he rebels against the new excuse me, he rebels against the new order, and he gets sent crashing down to the planet that other lead character lives on. And you see, after he's shot down by, I guess, some missiles, I don't know what it is, but you see it crashing through the atmosphere and tumbling down, and then you see him in well, you don't actually see it on the ground, but there are images of a crashed Tie Fighter, and there is him walking around with a jacket. Now, when he lands, he's actually not wearing the jacket. That's the interesting thing. Uh, the pilot, the X-wing pilot that we mentioned earlier, that we looked at earlier, he actually has a brown jacket. Okay, and it's kind of strange, but it is known that he is actually captured at one point in time in the movie, and he is interrogated by Kylo Ren directly. And then all of a sudden, I believe his name is Jason Boyega. Uh, the controversial black stormtrooper winds up with a brown jacket, and he wears it through the rest of the movie. So that's what you
It,
see him
it's
landing with. But right
it's
now we're looking
John.
at, huh?
It's
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Boyega.
I think John Boyega. But yeah, what we're looking at right now is an image from behind Kylo Ren, and he is looking out what I can only presume is the bridge of that new Star Destroyer we showed earlier. And there is a bright flash off of the corner. Now, what this actually is, this has been found out. If you look at the poster for the movie, the final release poster, you see what he's looking at. And of course, here's Kylo Ren face on. But what he's looking at is he's watching a test of a new weapon, a new super massive weapon that is more powerful than the Death Star ever hoped about being. And it has a name. It actually has a name. And it's a name that's come out of uh, Star Wars. Or, of course, here he is torturing the pilot up next. But yeah, Nick, do you want to try and figure out what the name of this thing is called?
I'm going to guess Star Killer.
Yes, it is. It is called the Star Killer, and that is the original name for our hero. Luke Skywalker was originally Starkiller, and that's what it's called, is the Starkiller. And it's thought, looking at some of the other images, like here's one of it actually blowing something up, and the only reason we can guess it's what it is because of the red hue to it. But apparently it is constructed on a planet that is covered, snow and ice and trees. Hint, hint, everybody who's seen the rest of the trailer with Kylo Ren lighting his saber. Apparently it's constructed on that, and coming up at some point in time soon. Not this one. This is an image of the Falcon, and well, it's after the Millennium Falcon shooting at TIE fighters. But coming up some point in time here in a few minutes, we'll be seeing an actual image of the planet surface itself. And like I said, it's covered over in snow and ice. And there is a huge trench. It is a man-made trench in the ground. And the only thing I really get from this is that this is all allusions to the older movies. There's a giant trench in the ground, a super weapon, and then a planet of snow and ice, and then TIE fighters and X-wings flying around shooting shit.
Yeah, I mean, I can feel the connection to the old movies in almost every shot. I honestly feel connected to the old movies in every single thing I've seen, and that feels right. It feels good. It makes me happy. That's the way this should be.
It really is a nice thought, and if that's being intentionally put in there, then I like it even. I mean, it's one thing to homage something in a film, but whenever you specifically put references to older classic films in there, it makes it a lot. And of course, there's the image of the burned helmet of Darth Vader that I think everybody's seen. If you haven't seen it, it's really beautiful, and
Uh,
I believe that's something we already looked at earlier. I don't remember offhand, but of course, right now we're seeing images of the Millennium Falcon and some hyperspace shots. But it's really interesting to think about all the little homages they put to the original, at least the original three. And of course, when I say the original three, I mean the ones that came out between 77 and 83. I don't mean episodes 1, 2, and 3. I mean episodes what are now 4, 5, and 6. Of course, Kylo Ren and his I think they're called Army of Ren. They dress kind of like him. Everybody should be
mhm.
seeing them in a moment. So
I mean, yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier about this J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, he was constantly homaging back to the originals that he was remaking, which was kind of good and kind of bad because it was a remake and not really a sequel. I think these movies, I have really, really high hopes because I think his style of filmmaking, his want to connect to the previous movies, I think that all works much better in a sequel like this than it does in a remake.
uh, the one that should be up here in a few seconds is actually the surface of a planet. The one where you saw the X-wings flying over water, and that I guess is where there is a resistance base. And of course, there's images of our favorite pilot and John Boyega walking by one another, and he's actually wearing his jacket. He's wearing his jacket that he stole from him after he was kidnapped. So this image coming up is leading up to the actual fight, over the water and everything.
I actually wonder if maybe not necessarily that he rebelled against the First Order, But what if he was part of the original Empire? That and they parts of them are still fighting against the First Order. So I'm kind of curious about that. Like, how much control does the First Order have over the Empire? Does it have total control, or does it have? Are there pockets of resistance still within the Empire?
The First Order is more like a cult, and they're a cult of they're essentially a cult of Sith worshippers, and they're not like Kylo Ren is not actually a Sith. He's just a huge fan of the Sith, and what we've been told, or what we can presume, rather, is that what's going on is that after the Republic fell and the rebellion was the Empire was taken out and whatnot. Particularly from Han Solo's comments, what I think's going on is that there's been a lot of denial about what happened. A lot of denial about what happened. Like the
I mean,
idea.
clearly the Empire would not want any of that news to get out. That the Jedi are back. That the rebels defeated them with the Death Stars and things like that. I expect that in the Empire itself, almost no one would have heard about any of that. So Han's comments really do make sense, especially if our two main characters are more or less from Empire-controlled places.
Let's see this image right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, Nick. This is one of the most fascinating shots to me. Uh, it's now obviously when I took it, it was already transitioning scenes, and you can see the scene transition in there. But if you look where Han Solo is, because it is Han Solo and John Boyega and BB-8, and then whatever that red droid is. If you look above Han, okay, just over where the door is, you see the door, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look straight up from there, you'll see a yellow flag with what looks like a black stripe on it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different flags there.
But okay, but do you see
I
the
see the
yellow
flag.
flag with the
Yeah,
black stripe?
yeah.
That is a Mandalorian flag.
Huh.
It's a little hard to make out in this version of it, but there are plenty of other versions of this shot that you can find. That is 110% a Mandalorian flag. It's got that image that everyone's familiar with from Boba Fett, and that little skull. I forget exactly what it is. I learned about it years ago, but it's actually on the yellow pad on his shoulder, and
Mm,
that flag is that same color as that pad, and there's the emblem on there.
hmm. I wonder if the bounty hunters sided with the resistance after the First Order rose up.
If you follow the events of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which is canon, it's officially canon now. You learn that the Mandalorians were they were essentially about to have a civil war, because
Mhm.
their leader wanted peace, and the people, a group of people did not. Death Watch was their name, did not want peace, and their leader wound up rejoining the Republic. So it's presumable that the Mandalorians are part of the Resistance now. I
It
would
would
think.
make sense, at least for part of them.
But what we're about to see coming up for the next few shots is mostly battle scenes, I think. And for those of you who are keeping count, we are on number 57 of all these screenshots. So we're over halfway done. So
We're getting there.
thank you for watching and paying attention and putting up with all this nonsense that took me like 2 hours to do. Now see, what we're saying right here, is probably one of the most interesting scenes of all. It is our female lead, and she's crying, and you can see what looks like some hair standing up, but there also looks like a piece of brown cloth. And you remember earlier when I mentioned the brown cloth, from what I didn't say it was brown, I guess, but it was the jacket that John Boyega's character is wearing. There is also a rumor that Han Solo is going to die. And if you have seen images of Han Solo, like this one that's immediately following this one we're looking at right now, he is wearing a brown jacket. So possibly, Han Solo is going to die.
I mean, that would make sense to me with Harrison Ford's reluctance to do the movies. They might be writing him out. It would, especially with the age he is in the movies. I don't know. That would make sense to me. It would make a lot of sense to me that they would kill off Han.
It's going to piss a lot of people off, though. But what we're seeing right now is an image from one of the X-Wings, and there's BB-8, yay! And if you look where BB-8 is looking, that's the trench on the planet, and all the first order TIE fighters coming out.
I mean, I would be really, really sad if Han died, but from just a fan perspective and from the story perspective, I would be really sad. But as someone that knows how the inner workings of the actors in the movie is, I would not be shocked at all. I almost kind of expect it now that you mention it. I really do kind of expect Han to die.
See, like, my worry is they actually are going to kill him off. Now, Han is easily one of everyone's favorite characters from Star Wars.
Obviously,
I actually don't know anybody who doesn't like Han Solo.
He's just so much fun. He's a really fun character.
And by the way, not to change the subject, but this is another image of that trench, and you see there's parallel trench on the side. The best information that I can possibly get is that is a portion of the Starkiller itself. Now,
really?
Yes, it is built into. Yes, it is built into the planet. If you look at the trailer, there is a planet behind all the characters, and that is the goddamn Starkiller. It is built into the fucking surface of the planet. It is not a man-made object. Now it is the object, like it's naturally built, but it's built into it. You see, some more images of TIE fighters and X-wings flying around, and I'm trying to get through these battle images because they just by themselves they sort of tell a story. Like you can kind of figure out, this is not some little play area for the First Order or anybody else. This is an actual serious thing that's going down.
The scale of these battles feels really just really big. They feel as big as the first 3 movies did. And I think that was a problem of the episodes 1, 2, and 3. I never really felt like the battles were on a very large scale. Even the battles around the planet, when they were trying to free
the Battle of Coruscant, which was the actual
no,
largest
not Coruscant.
one.
Not Coruscant, the other one. In the first movie.
Oh, Naboo?
Yeah, Naboo. I I mean, I none of the battles, Naboo, Coruscant, I never really felt like they were on a very large scale. They just felt like very small, isolated incidents.
Well, see, that's because you don't really see much of the action going on. But the initial flying. By the way, episodes 3 opening moments, with the boom, 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 like that, and then the music starts and you see Obi-Wan and Anakin's fighters coming in over the Star Destroyer. That's that is actually probably my favorite moment of the prequels, is just that,
Yeah.
because it's beautifully done. I mean, like, you had this triumphant music, and then them flying over a ship, and you can't see jack shit beyond the ship or underneath it, but you just hear this booming music, and all of a sudden, whoa, they fly up, and then there's all these ships there over Coruscant. And it's like, holy shit, all this is going down, and it's amazing
Yeah.
to look at. But I've kind of paused doing images on this one image right here. Um, this is thought to be a bridge or something on a Star
Part of
Destroyer,
the Star
a
Trek.
new Star Destroyer, and
Oh.
it's not thought to be every opinion I've seen about this image is not thought to be a bridge on a resistance ship. And the reason is, if you look right there in the middle between where the two people are flying up in the air, you see a little droid. And if you remember the very first Star Wars movie, there's a scene where a little droid that looks just like that is rolling around going like that, and Chewbacca roars at it and it drives off. That's the
Oh
same
yeah.
damn type of droid. Those droids were used by the Empire.
That does, yeah, I remember that. But back to what you were saying about episode 3. Yeah, that was one of the very few moments where I felt like you were in a huge battle. And I think that's one of the really great things that the first couple movies did. They made you feel like you were part of something really huge, really beyond you. Um, the sense of scale that they gave is really amazing. And I think that so far, what I've seen from the trailer, this really recaptures that. I feel like I'm just a very small part of something huge when I'm watching this. Like, my perspective, there's so much for me to take in, and it's just not in an overwhelming sense, but just the sheer number, the sheer size of it. It's really a big difference.
Now, this next image, I'm not sure if it's showing up for everybody yet or not. But this is one of the most discussed points out of the trailer, and it is Leia being held by Han Solo. And when you look at Carrie Fisher's face, Leia's face rather, you see she's aged naturally. They did not retouch her. They wanted her to look as if she's actually about 40 years older. And that is a brilliant choice to me. Now, they could have done, this idea, oh, well, we're going to make her look younger. That way she's recognizable. Fuck no. She's Leia. Look at her. You can tell she's Leia. This is Leia, who is no longer the young princess from Alderaan. This is Leia, who has grown up, in a time of war. She has seen some shit. You can look at her, and I think it's beautiful. And I found out it was actually done because Carrie Fisher said it needed to be that way. You needed to have, you needed to see what's happened to Leia, and she's apparently drawn on her problem with addiction and everything, which has aged her, beyond what she should normally look like, for being about 60 years old. But she looks a lot older, and I like that. I like that they left that in there and didn't try to make her look young again. I mean, it's beautiful, And just seeing her being held by Han, it's like, these people had been together for 30, 40 years. Like and just this one image, you see, the pilots getting ready to, to take off the background, and they're just having a moment where they're talking and hugging, and it's like, these two really do give a shit about one another. They really do love one another.
Yeah, I mean, Carrie Fisher has to be one of my all-time favorite actresses, simply just because of her Princess Leia roles, her support for Star Wars over the years, just everything about her has just been amazing in regards to Star Wars. It's just, I want to take a picture of this image and put it on my wall or something. That's what I want to do. I would hang this photograph from my wall. Because it really is just a touching picture.
John Boyega with his lightsaber facing off against Kylo Ren in the forest. By the way, the image earlier where Kylo Ren is walking through the woods and he stops and he lights his saber. This is the same set of this is probably the same set of trees. So apparently, our possible stormtrooper is a Jedi. And if you notice, he's using if you notice, he's using a blue lightsaber. And we know there is a blue lightsaber in the movie. And we saw it earlier. It belongs to Anakin Skywalker. So how does John Boyega get it?
It looks, and this is just me speculating, but it looks like John Boyega is going to become the apprentice to Luke. That's my, from everything, from the way the movie's gone or the trailer's gone, and just all the images, it seems to me that John is going to become the apprentice to Luke.
But see, that raises a question for me. We're not seeing Luke's face, but the image that is thought to be him, him reaching out and putting his hand on something, he's wearing what looks to be a black hood. Now, the other individual in the movie who we know wears a black hood is Kylo Ren. What if? And this is a huge what if. And by the way, what's coming up next is screenshots of our female lead looking up as what I presume to be the first order invading the planet. But anyway, yeah. What if this is again? What if? What if Kylo Ren is actually Luke Skywalker? What if Luke has turned to the dark side? What if Luke is no longer, the balanced Jedi that he was? Because I mean, we're talking 40 years later. What if he's gone on like was done in the books, and he's rebuilt the Jedi Order, but he's turned away from the light.
I don't think they could do that in this movie. I really don't think that they could start off the new Star Wars movies with Luke just suddenly becoming part of the dark side. It wouldn't make sense to me. Not from a storytelling perspective, it's too fast. Possibly I could see them doing that over the course of the new movies. Maybe the second movie or the third movie. But I really don't think Luke is... I mean, he might be battling with thoughts about the dark side or something like that. I could see that happening, but I can't see him just turning completely away from the light side in the first movie and being a Sith Lord or a Dark Jedi or something like that.
I can is because that's what happened to his daddy, and we already know, from the other movies, that he has a lot of similarities to his father. By the way, I want to stop talking about Luke for a second because it took a long time to get to this image. I mean, I know, but this is the one I was talking about, the First Order, and looking from their leader perspective, and you can see the helmet, the bright shiny chrome helmet of Captain Phasma, and there's some other, I guess, officers behind him, and then out, in front you see, the red flag, the emblem, and a couple TIE fighters there, and it's just it looks like looking at the Nuremberg rally from Hitler's perspective, but you see where they're at. You see where they're at. That icy, mountainy, cold planet, and we know this is the planet where the Star Killer is. So, looking at that ought to give you an idea of how large the First Order actually is, because there's on either side of the soldiers. You see the one TIE fighter there, but if you look, every two pairs of wings, every pair of wings you see is one TIE fighter, and you see what looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 20 or so just on one side, and then another on another side, and there's presumably more, and then soldiers upon soldiers upon soldiers going back and back and back and back and back. And in each group of soldiers, there looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 20 rows, soldiers deep, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wide. So the First Order is not messing around. They have a large, large military force.
It really reminds me of in the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers movies. Remember when Saruman was looking over his army? Or was it the first? I can't remember. It was either the first movie or the second one. It really reminds me a lot of that shot too. It's yeah. This is clearly an impressive military force that you don't really want to mess with unless you have to. Which clearly they have to, but
see, I kind of think that J.J. Abrams specifically went with making them look like Nazis,
I do
because
too.
because that actually backs up, and of course, we're ending an image of that, what I guess is a ship's bridge, and then the Star Destroyer again, just because that is an amazing shot right there. But I like to think that J.J. Abrams went with making them look more like Nazis, because that really drives home that they're, just like Hitler was, they're devoted to this insane idea, this strange religion with these magical powers, and that they're a cult. And it's already been discussed that the First Order is a cult. They're a cult devoted to the Sith and to the Empire, and they want to be like them. So it's like these guys are neo Nazis, and I actually kind of like that comparison, because it puts into perspective how dangerous the First Order actually could possibly be, when you think about
Yeah.
like people who want to bring back the Third Reich, and create the Fourth Reich. It's like these people are demented individuals. They're insane. They're driven by some evil cause. And looking at this, it's like, I can see that. I can really see the First Order trying to set right what once went wrong, to quote Quantum Leap here. But it makes sense within the story to give that kind of illusion, to make it relatable to me.
Yeah, and one of the quotes from Kylo Ren during the movie is, "I'm going to finish what you started," or something like that, when he was looking at Darth Vader's helmet. So, I mean, it's Yeah, there's a lot of things to speculate about still. Clearly, I think probably the biggest speculation is going to be about Finn and how he comes to get the lightsaber, what he used to be, how he turns to the light side, presumably. There's a lot of just things to figure out there.
See, okay, there's actually one last thing I want to bring up, because we actually managed to fill an hour looking at images from Star Wars. So,
How can we be less nerdy? We or more nerdy? Can we be more nerdy? I don't think we can be. I'm not sure we can be.
well, Nick, not only have you, listened to shows and watched them, but you've been on the show, so you know what we can talk about. But I want to bring up a trending topic from this week. That was, of course, boycott Star Wars. Now, normally I wouldn't mention this, like I would not give these people the time of day, but I want to express a few thoughts here about the whole boycott Star Wars thing. And it starts off with we have a black stormtrooper, we have a female officer, and apparently, because there is a token black man in here, just like there was a token black man in the original films, that
And the newer ones.
I don't remember the token black man. Now,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, thank you. Now, of course, excuse me for using the phrase token because I know that's offensive, but that's what they are. There is the one black person put there, and there's an individual for all the films, and court because of that. This is apparently an attempt at. Oh, it makes my head hurt thinking about the shit. Apparently, this is Hollywood trying to force their liberal views on the people and saying that white people need to all die. Have you fucking looked at the cast list for this movie? Have you looked at it? Really? Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, our new little young person in there, the pilot, the actor who plays Captain Phasma, the guy who plays Kylo Ren, um, uh, uh, Mark Hamill, about 99% of the cast that I can name right now, including the people who do C3PO, R2D2, and nearly every droid and fucking alien in the movie, are white people. The director is a white person. There is no liberal agenda to drown out the white people and to kill all the white people in Star Wars. It is no longer some fascist, pseudo racist bullshit. Okay? the the last time that racism was in Star Wars was Misa Jar Jar Binks. Misa step and fetch it. He was compared to a racist stereotype from the early 1900s because of how he acted, because of how he walked, because of how he talked. Okay? I'm not saying that racism is not a problem. I'm saying it's fucking Star Wars. Okay? This is shit that supposedly, according to the tagline, takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. These are not people from Earth. These are not people who, are subject to the same limitations that we are. They're in space a long time ago, far, far away, in a whole other part of the galaxy or another galaxy entirely. And even if you stop thinking about that and consider that, they're also made up. They're made up. None of these people exist. This is actors portraying a role. It's like the new Annie movie. Oh, well, she's black in this one. Who cares? Who the fuck cares? Look at Doctor Who. There has been like 14, 15 people who have portrayed the Doctor. There's been about 5 or 6 people who have portrayed Batman. There's been multiple people who have played James Bond. Actors change because the roles get filled by other actors. It doesn't fucking matter. at all. It shouldn't matter to you. It's not racist. The only racist here are the people who are saying that, oh, the black people are taking over Star Wars. Who cares? If they do, I'm in favor of it. There needs to be more roles for people who are not white in Hollywood. It would be nice to see. Look at the new Peter Pan movie. Look, just look at the cast of that movie, including the Indian princess. It's a white woman. It's Emily Blunt. She is one of the whitest actresses in Hollywood. She needs to get a tan. But no, she's playing Tiger Lily, the Indian princess. Fuck all of you who say Star Wars is racist. It's actually you that's racist. Goddamn white supremacist piece of fucking shit. Look at the stormtroopers wearing their white uniforms and their red flags, and they're standing there in lines. That's you. That's you in Star Wars. You are the bad guys in Star Wars, and I hate you.
So basically what we're saying is, we're for the rebellion, for the resistance, go Jedi, fuck all of you racists, and yeah, there needs to be more black people and people with diversity in sci-fi and fantasy. It's kind of ridiculous.
See, well, like, what really bothers me is, this idea, well, you're talking to black people. Okay, well, just because human beings seem to be one of the most common species in Star Wars that you come across does not mean that they're the only species in the galaxy. I mean, look at the Old Republic. Look at the damn Jedi Order. The Jedi Order could not possibly be any less racist than it is. You have humans, and you have weak ways and whatever the hell else species there are in the Jedi Order that's been there for thousands and thousands of years. They're not all humans. They're not all one particular version of humans. Now, see, oh, wait. Oh, no, wait. I can even go deeper with this. Star Wars has had every clone trooper. Every clone trooper. And historically, for several years after the end of even hell, the Empire ended, there were still clone troopers. And oh wait, do you know who the actor was who portrayed all those roles? He was a Maori. He's a Maori. He's a brown man wearing a white costume, working for a white guy. And oh, guess what? Darth Vader, played by James Earl Jones, who's not white. I'm sorry, I kind of hate to ruin all this for you, but there's been actors in Star Wars who are not white before, and you're a fucking moron if you think that, oh my god, the black people are taking over. There's about 4 black people in all Star Wars. 4. 4, okay? And like one brown guy, and you're going insane about this. There's other things to worry about than this stupid bullshit, and quit blaming Obama for it. Quit blaming the liberal for it. Quit blaming Hollywood for it. Wake the fuck up and look at the movie for what it is. It's Star Wars. It evidently hasn't stopped anyone else from going to see it. And you know what? Just to show you how much, just show everybody how few fucks I actually give about this. If you look at the Transformers movies, the twins, are we all be talking like this? I didn't give a shit about that. I thought they were annoying. I didn't care. But you know what? Other people like them, and people still shelled out thousands upon billions of dollars to go see that movie because it's a movie, and they want to get away from the stupid bullshit and reality for a few hours at a time. It's not a bad idea. It's like watching Jurassic World. Do we really think there's a part where a woman's going to run around in heels and clothing that's meant for being like in New York City in the middle of the daytime on a jungle island in South America? No, no one thinks that's real. It's a movie. They're dinosaurs walking around with people. This is a movie about people who have laser swords and can lift shit with their mind, and they fly spaceships. It's not real. Reality is real. Step away from that. Quit trying to say everything's about racism and everything's about sexism. There's a huge plot. Yes, it exists. It's put in the movies. There's bias in there. I acknowledge it. I admit it. Get over it. It's a movie. If you don't want to go see it, don't fucking go see it. That just means there's another ticket for me because I want to go see it more than once. Bitch, where's my microphone?
Yep. And yeah, I mean, clearly this boycott thing is not working because how many pre-order sales have there been for the movie tickets now? Like, record breaking or something.
Yeah, like it broke all the records. They sold out almost as soon as they were listed. I mean, Comic Con, like San Diego Comic Con, has had some of the fastest ticket sales in history. I mean, we're talking, maybe 20 minutes tops, maybe. The ones
It
for
was
Star Wars, like sites like Fandango and stuff like that. They got so many hits on that website, it actually crashed the servers the websites are on. It crashed them. No one could get on them for 2 or 3 hours. It broke the internet. It's Star Wars. No one gives a shit. No one goes to see it and worries about, oh, that stormtrooper is black. No one cares. No, actually, let me rephrase that. Nobody important cares about it. Now, if you want to be Donald Trump about it and say, well, blah, 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 that's fine. I'm going to go see my huge Star Wars movie because I'm a huge fan of Star Wars and I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump.
Yeah, don't be racist.
Jesus. In fact, no, I'm not just going to say Jesus. I'm going to say Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
And all the saints.
Yeah, and all the saints and God and the angels too. All of you need their help. You need their damn help. Jesus.
Yes, please help these people because, yeah, they need help. They clearly need help.
But you know what? I think I'm gonna go do now. Because like I said, we're well over an hour now. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go channel all this into making Halloween decorations. Oh shit! That just broke. Wow. Ignore that noise. But yeah. Next week is of course Halloween, and actually, what next Saturday I think. So we're gonna do probably our Friday show, but Halloween. So maybe possible contest announcement here. I'll put it on Facebook. I have no idea if we'll do a prize or not. But what I would like to see is if all of our viewers could possibly take, like a picture of their costume or, like their kid's costume, whatever, and like mail it to us over Facebook. We'll show them on the show next week on Friday. Also, by the way, those of you, who remember that I'm actually going to be the Scarecrow, I will insert at some point in time in the show, randomly, unannounced, a full body shot of me in my Scarecrow costume.
That should be exciting. I want to see it.
And I'm gonna try. I'm gonna reach out to a few people and see if we can possibly get a few guests to be on. Talk about maybe the history of Halloween and witchcraft and what certain symbols mean. But yeah, we're gonna try and we're gonna have a Halloween show next week.
Sounds like fun.
And I'm sure we can figure out something to talk about on Mondays and Wednesdays. So yeah.
Well, I guess this is goodbye, everyone.
It is. Thank you for listening all the way through this. Thank you for looking at my couple hours worth of work there, getting the screenshots. Thank you for liking the video, commenting on it, sharing it everywhere. Share it on all the places. Like us on Facebook. Tell Nick how much you can't stand him because God knows no one likes him. But yeah,
I still exist. I don't understand that.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe someone somewhere likes you. I guess. I don't know.
Possibly.
Wait. I know. Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves everyone, though. That's not saying much.
Yeah, Jesus. You and your free love, you fucking hippie. Your free love and your free food and your free healthcare. Jesus is a socialist.
He really, really is.
You know what? One day we need to just have a show where we talk about Jesus being a socialist and just lay out all the reasons that he is. That would be awesome. I actually may reach out to one of our former guests, because he's actually a minister, and get him on here just to see what he has to say about it.
I would not mind that. I'm perfectly fine with Jesus being a socialist and portraying him as the socialist that he is.
Speaking of socialists, vote for Bernie Sanders.
Go Bernie.
See, what really bothers me about that is a lot of people say, well, Bernie Sanders isn't going to win. I actually went to a meeting last night. It was our local Democratic Party, and I went and talked to them about it. And there seems to be a disagreement. They all seem to think that Bernie cannot win, and that Hillary will win. No, Bernie can win if you vote for him. And like everybody up there is like, well, we like Bernie. Okay, I like Bernie too. Vote for the man. Campaign for him. Get people. If you want to get people to get out and vote, you want people to be interested in the election process. Get them to vote for Bernie Sanders. If you like him, talk about him. He is the most popular candidate, despite what all the polls said. But anyway, we're way the hell over time now. So we'll talk to all of you Monday, right?
Yep. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.